Good morning students, this is SD Pawar madam, lecturer Department of Economics, Gokte PU College of Commerce and Science, Belgaum. We shall continue with the topic poverty. This is the second part of the topic. Let's see today. Please take the screenshot and write the notes in your notebooks. These are only the notes. Poverty line. Explain what is poverty line. Now we have seen poverty line. It divides the people of the country as poor and non-poor. Okay. Now Dada Bhai Nauroji was the first person to discuss the concept or the idea of a poverty line even before independence. This can come for 1 mark, fill in the blanks or multiple choice question. Who was the first person to discuss the concept of poverty line even before independence? He is Dada Bhai Nauroji. You have already come across this name in your school. Then the concept of poverty line, concept means the idea or the view. The concept of poverty line is to measure the number of poor in the country. Okay, we like to know how many poor people are there in the country. Poverty line is a line which divides the population as poor and non-poor. We have seen that with the help of a diagram also. Then measurement of poverty line as per Planning Commission of India. It should be of India. It is misprinted as if. Measurement of poverty line as per Planning Commission of India. As per, this will come for 2 marks. As per the Planning Commission of India, poverty line is determined on the basis of nutritional requirement of 2400 calories per person per day for rural areas and 2100 calories per person per day for urban areas. That is, see, in a rural area, if a person, nutritional requirement means what? Food intake, that is the diet or the food intake, daily requirement of food, that is a minimum 2400 calories a single person every day should get in the rural area. Okay, and the same in urban areas is 2100 calories per person per day for urban areas. If the nutritional intake or nutritional diet or nutritional requirement is less than these calories, then that person is termed as a poor person. Okay, if their food intake is less than 2400 calories per person per day for rural area and 2100 calorie per person per day for urban area, then that person is termed as a poor person. Minimum 2400 and 2100 calorie for rural and urban area respectively has to be maintained. Okay, then what is head count ratio? All these are all small questions that may come. What is head count ratio? The number of poor estimated or calculated as a proportion of people below poverty line is head count ratio. If you find this difficult to answer, you can simply write it as it is the number of below poverty line people in the poor people. There are many poor people in the country, but among those poor people, the below poverty line people are among the poor people are called as head count ratio. Okay, it is the number of BPL people in the poor people is called as head count ratio. So here poverty line is given by Dada Bhai Nauroji for the first time. Then the poverty line will help us to measure the number of poor people in the country, and it helps to divide the population as poor and non-poor. Then measurement of poverty line as per Planning Commission is minimum nutritional requirement of 2400 calories and 2100 calories per person per day for rural and urban areas respectively. Then head count ratio is what? It is the number of BPL population in the poor people, below poverty line people in the poor people. Then let's see how is identification of urban and rural poor done. Okay, now when you are living in a city and you are just roaming around, how will you identify that a person is poor or not? Or in a rural area, how will you identify whether a person is poor or not? So here urban poor, some description is given, that is urban poor are push cart vendors. Push cart means जो थैला लेके गाड़ी लेके गली गली घूमते हैं. Okay, vendor means sellers. Push cart vendors because they don't have capacity to have a shop and run the shop in one place, so they move around on streets, every streets selling their goods. Push cart vendors. Then street cobblers. Cobbler means the one who repairs the shoes sitting on the street. Then women who string flowers, माला बनाने वाले, फूल माला बेचने वाले, बनाने वाले, women who string flowers. Then rag pickers. Rag means kachra. Okay, pickers, one who are collecting plastic bottles on the roadsides. Okay, they are called as rag pickers. Casual workers. Casual worker means doing one or other job. Okay, who does not have a fixed job, who does not have a regular job. He is doing whichever work he gets for the day. Then beggars are some examples of urban poor. Then who are rural poor? That is, how will you identify, how will you know the rural poor? Rural poor are identified on the basis of their occupation. On the basis of their occupation means the kind of work they do, and the asset ownership. That is, asset means whatever what property they own or what land they own. Some examples of rural poor are landless agricultural labor household. Household means family. A family who is an agricultural labor, who works in the farm of other person. He is a landless agricultural labor. That is, he does not have land of his own and who is working on the family which is working on the farm of other people or other landlords. Then landless agricultural labor, one who does not have any land and he is a farmer, agricultural worker. Then second one, agricultural labor household with very small land holding. He is an agricultural land labor, but he may be having very small land. That small land, maybe it is of no use, that it may be a waste land or it may be a dry land which is not suitable for doing agriculture. He is also called as a poor rural person. Then third one is tribal. Tribal means people who move from one place to another. They do not have any house of their own. They do not belong to any city or any rural area. They are moving from one place to another. Then fourth one, in search of work. Then fourth one, non-agricultural labor without any land holding. Non-agricultural labor means he may be not working on anybody's farm and he does not have any land also, and he is a non-agricultural labor. Okay, that is, he may be artisan. Artisan means one who is doing wooden carpenter work or pottery work, or one who is doing some agarbatti. He is working in such places. He is also called as a rural poor, non-agricultural labor without any land holding like artisans. Then etc. The poor possesses few assets. Possess means he has few assets and lives in kacha houses. Kacha means it is not built with cement and bricks, but roof. The walls are made of mud and roof is of grass, bamboo and wood. So, the poor possesses few assets and lives in kacha houses with walls of mud and roofs of grass, bamboo and wood. The poorest do not even have a house such the poorest do not even have house and apart from income and assets, social factors such as basic education, health care, drinking water, sanitization is also to be considered while determining the poor and the poverty line. So the fourth point is here, people who do not have any agricultural land and who are non-agricultural workers and like artisans who are doing carpenter work, wooden work, pottery work, weaving work, etc. And the poor people, they do not have any assets and they live in kacha houses, and the poorest people, that is the BPL population, they do not even have such kacha houses also. Then while considering, we have seen here it is rural is identified on the basis of their occupation and assets. Apart from occupation and assets, that is social factors also are to be considered, like basic education. Okay, whether he has basic education like minimum qualification till 10th or 12th, then health facilities, drinking water, whether he has drinking water facilities, sanitation means toilets, etc., is also to be considered while determining the poor and the poverty line. Then another question, for it may come for 4 marks or 2 marks also. Features of poor people. What are the features, means what are the characteristics of poor people? You write here, poor do not have even 2 meals a day, means now we eat 4 times a day, so poor do not even get 2 times good food to eat, sufficient food to eat. Starvation and hunger are key features. Starvation means out of due to hunger people are about to die, that is called as starvation. Hunger is bhook. They are the key features. Bhukmari and bhook ki wajah se people are dying, that is called as starvation and hunger are key features. They lack basic literacy, that means they do not have basic literacy or basic education, and skills. When they do not have any education, they do not have any skill. Skill means any special talents, and which we get because of education. Then and have limited job opportunities. So since they are not qualified properly, job opportunities are very less for them, and they face unstable employment, that is they do not have a fixed employment or a job. 2 days they may get work in one place, another 4 days they may work in some other place. Malnutrition. Malnutrition means insufficient food. Okay, no proper food, that is even 2 meals they do not get, that is malnutrition. They are underfed, they are not fully fed, they do not get stomach full to eat. Ill health means poor health, make them physically weak. Insufficient food, and because of which ill health, poor health will make them physically weak. They borrow from money lenders who charge high rate of interest and are trapped in chronic indebtedness. They do not have money, so they go to the money lenders and they borrow from them. Money lenders, they often try to cheat them by charging high rate of interest, and they are trapped in chronic indebtedness. Means chronic means they never come out of that indebtedness, that is they are under the pressure of loan repayment always. Poor are not able to deal or negotiate their legal wages with their employers and are exploited as they are not qualified, they do not have good proper employment opportunities, and whatever wages are given to them, they are dealing only with that wages. They cannot fight for their wages, and they are often exploited. Many times they are exploited or cheated. There is absence of electricity. There is no electricity in their so called houses, no cooking gas, safe drinking water, that is tap water. There is extreme gender inequality in employment, education, decision making and healthcare, as they are poor families, and there is no education, so there is a gender inequality. No equal status to girl child and male child is given in poor families, and so also in the case of employment, education and decision making and health care. Then let us see one more question for 4 marks or 6 marks it may come. Causes of poverty. The causes of poverty lie in the institutional and social factors that mark life of the poor. That is, the causes are, first one, exploitation under the British rule. Now we were ruled for more than 200 for almost 200 years by the Britishers, and who have exploited the Indian people. They haven't done any development, industrial development in our country, because of which also development process started late in our country. So that is, and because development process is slow, then poverty is one of the causes of that. Then second one, rapid growth of population. Now population rise is faster than economic development. Economic development, though it has started, but population is increasing at a more faster rate than the development rate. So people of the country are increasing, and it is hampering the growth of the nation. It is stopping the growth of the nation at a faster rate, and that is one of the reasons for poverty, garibi. Unemployment, third one, people are ready to work but do not get job. That should be do not get job which give them regular income throughout the year. There is unemployment. Why? Because development process is slower than the growth rate of population. Population is more, so so all the people cannot be employed. Though people are ready to work, they are not getting job which will give them regular income throughout the year. Fourth one is unequal distribution of income. Unequal distribution of income means among the people of the country, which increase the gap between the rich and the poor. Some people like IT professionals, doctors, engineers, their salaries are more than the casual workers like the truck drivers and all. Of course it depends on the education, but there is income distribution in our country is very much unequal. So rich are becoming rich, poor are remaining poor. So it increase, this unequal distribution of income will increase the gap between the rich and the poor. Then fifth one, low per capita income. Per capita income means per head income, which leads to low standard of living and thus leads to poverty. Now if a person's income is less, he will be able to spend less for his daily requirements, and therefore his standard of living will become less. So low per capita income, if we compare the per capita income of India with USA, there is a lot of difference. The standard of living of USA is very high because each individual is income, per head income is more, whereas in India per head income is very less. Therefore it leads to low standard of living and poverty. Inflation means steep rise, high rise, very fast rise in the prices of goods and services. Mehengai, inflation is what? Mehengai. Inflation is increasing day by day. Goods and services are becoming expensive, they are becoming costly, and money value is becoming less. So that is, so when money value becomes less, that is you are able to purchase less goods and services. Less goods and services means low standard of living, and again it leads to poverty. Seventh one is slow growth of economy. We have seen that in the second point itself, rapid growth of population, that is population is increasing at a faster rate than the economic development rate. Slow growth of economy, like low level of production due to low investments, money shortage of funds in the country, due to which there is a low level of production. When the production is less in the country, then employment will become less. You do more production, you require more labor to produce the goods and services. So when production is less by the firms, then employment is less, and when employment is less, income is less. When income is less, then it leads to poverty. So slow growth of economy is another reason. Then social factors, eighth one, like illiteracy means non-education. Then still today 25% of the population as per 2011 year census are illiterate. Okay, this is as per 2011 year census. 24% of the population is still illiterate. Then lack of knowledge means they do not have proper skills because of lack of education. There is lack of knowledge. Then casteism, there is there are many religions and caste and subcaste. Then that will affect the quality of life of people. Okay, social factors like superstitions are there. Okay, so all these factors also affect the economic growth of the people. Then ninth last point we take as corruption. That is, everywhere whatever work we need to do, we need to give money to get the work done. Government does so many projects, but half of that project money, funds provided, is eaten by the contractors or the middlemen or the officials. So money spent for poverty elevation. Poverty elevation means what? To raise the people out of poverty, to uplift the poor people from poverty. Poverty elevation programs. Government conducts many programs which we will see in the next part of the lesson. So government is spending lot of money on poverty elevation programs to raise the poor, to lift the poor out of poverty, but that is eaten or swallowed up by the corrupt officials. So these are certain reasons that lead to poverty. I hope you have understood this much. You please take the screenshots, note it down. You may just write the points. I have given the explanation here so that you understand the meaning of the points. You may just write the 9 points, that would be sufficient. Thank you for today.